back. Another
Once
episode
again.
of season 3. Welcome, fellas. Hello. Say hello. My name's Kevin, joined by James and Joe.
Hello, my name's Kevin, joined by James and Joe. You said say hello.
I'm not responding to that.
Well,
That was a weak joke. I'm starting over. Hello. No.
Kevin goes.
Start
That
over.
was so bad. That was so bad that we're
James,
starting over
you're
and
not
James is
funny.
leaving. Yeah. You're done. Okay. So, back with another episode, season 3. Let's go. We're trucking along. We had an exciting film this week. Probably one of the best films we've watched.
I hate
for the
everything about
podcast
you.
so far. Truly a masterpiece, if I do say so myself. But this week we watched Intrusion, the 2021 Netflix film. It's an American psychological thriller film directed by Adam Salke, written by Christopher Sparling, starring Frida Pinto and Logan Marshall Green. Before we get into the first reactions, please, if you guys are enjoying our content, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Really going to help us out with growing our following, growing a base, so we can keep putting out solid content. So head on over to the YouTube channel if you're listening to it. If you're watching it, just click the subscribe button. It's right there. Just click subscribe. It doesn't cost you any money, and it really helps us out. So, fellas, with that, James, what did you think? Caught you in a sip. What did you think of this masterpiece, Intrusion?
To use your own terms, Kevin, it's stinky duty. This one sucks ass. It doesn't have a lot going for it. Doesn't really have a logical plot. Doesn't really have believable characters. The production value is pretty good. But everything else was pretty bad. Everything. The acting was bad. The writing wasn't good. So it was bad. It was... Joey? Joe.
As soon as Kevin picked this movie, I was like, oh God, why are we watching this? But I think I wrote probably 50 notes in my book on this one, and
Jeez.
45 of them are about how much I hate the male character of this movie. From the very beginning was his cheesy writing, his toxic masculinity. He's an asshole. There's no chemistry. He's bad acting, bad writing. Just a lot of bad things about him. And I can say I enjoy a good thriller, psychological thriller. We've not watched too many on here, but they're one of my favorite genres. This was not it. This is an official Kevin rating of trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%. This movie was terrible. I knew going into it too it was going to be bad. That's kind of why I picked it. I thought it would be funny to watch. And it indeed was so bad that it's funny. It is one of those where you're watching this and you cannot believe what the fuck how this movie got made. So many plot holes. So many just terribly written. The writing, I'm so sorry, and I've said this before, I hate talking shit on people doing what they're passionate about, and but man, the writing was so bad, and I feel bad to talk shit on the writers, but man, you gotta figure something out, man.
Says the man who just spent an hour shitting on the writing, acting, directing, editing.
I can shit on Adam McKay and his crew of people writing a movie, but I feel bad when it's this dude who's written just nothing.
He's got nothing,
And
yeah.
he finally gets some big gig, and it's
And
that might not be it, dude. That might not be it.
Maybe you go back to your other job.
Yeah, if you have a track record of making good movies
Damn.
and then you put out a shit one, I'll talk shit. If
Yeah.
you don't have any track record and you're working really hard, I feel bad talking shit, but dude, it sucked.
Yeah, this movie didn't make any goddamn sense.
But I think it was definitely fun to watch because it was bad. I think it was kind of fell in that range for me where I just had to laugh. There were times where I just put my hands my head into my hands, and I was like, "What is going on?" But right off the bat, it's bad. I texted you guys to see if anybody didn't watch it yet, because in the first 5 minutes, I knew it was going to be so bad that we might need to watch something else. James, thank you. I'm glad you were already done the movie.
It was too late.
It was too late. But yeah, Intrusion was pretty terrible. Based on those, I think I know where everyone's going to be at. But Joe, are you pressing play or are you scrolling?
I will say this in defense of
Do
the
not.
movie, because
No. I'm usually the one that's like,
I'm
I'm usually the one that's
No.
let's frame the car fire so it looks nicer. Like, it's okay, it did this. This one, I'm sorry, it was bad.
I will preface this. I'm gonna keep scrolling. However, my second biggest fear, we all know my first biggest fear at this point. My second biggest fear is a home invasion with
True.
multiple people trying to not only rob but kill me. So it did hit a little nerve there in the beginning, and I was kind of excited that there was hope for this movie, and it fell flat repeatedly. So I'm gonna keep scrolling on this one.
You just gotta get a tree gun, like that guy. He's got a tree gun that protected him. I know my rights. And I'm allowed to have a tree gun.
Let's talk. I don't want to talk about it too much, but like, you're gonna hide your gun in a fucking tree? Like,
Do you
what?
know how
Like,
much of a
that's
fucking-
the worst spot to hide that gun, dude.
Can you
Like,
think about,
in
think
the
about
middle
it
of the
like
hallway?
this. Think about it like this. I have to traverse my mansion of a house to this one tree
To
right
the big
near a
glass
window.
windows.
And then I have to do this. While I'm hiding from the burglar, I have to do this. Okay, I found the gun.
you have to go to the shed, get one of those little like
Spade
planter shovels.
Yeah.
The little hand.
The tree dies, and you accidentally throw away the gun. Like,
So funny. So fucking dumb. This movie is definitely worth. So are we do? I'm assuming, Joe, you just said keep scrolling. I'm just gonna roll
Yeah,
with
it's
that.
your turn.
I'm also gonna keep scrolling, but this movie may be fun while imbibing. Enjoy responsibly, but this one sucked. Kevin.
Yeah, I'm gonna scroll too, unless you're one of those just psychopaths like I am sometimes, where you watch a movie just because you know it's terrible. Like, you watch it for the entertainment factor of like, how did this movie get made? So if you like that, then watch this movie. It's pretty comically bad. But no, like, don't watch this movie to actually be entertained by a movie. Like, you're psychotic. I feel like an idiot for picking this movie, even though I knew it was going to be bad.
I was gonna say, this is a movie I would pick.
Yeah, this is a movie. Yeah, Joe would pick thinking is going to be so good, and we're like, what are we watching?
You mean like Hypnotic?
And the girl on the tree.
Yeah, the girl on the
Damn.
train.
Joe, you're absolutely knocking it out of the park here.
In my defense, I don't think that they're going to be these masterpieces. I'm hoping that there's some creative, minute genius in there, that there's a good plot twist at the end. And all three of those movies the first two I picked, this one Kev picked, I fell flat. So I'm happy that Kev
Looks
picked this
like
one and not
shit,
me.
Smells like shit.
Probably
You know.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Do you know how many times I feel like every time we talk about this podcast, I want to make the joke. Like, I think I made this joke on at least 2 other podcasts where I just go, the diamond in the rough from Aladdin.
Yes.
At some point when we make it big here, I want a shirt that has that thing. And it's just like, it has like a Flicks Fellas on it. That's what I want. That's my new goal. It's my new life goal. Listeners, make it happen. Subscribe.
Speaking of, before we get to the commercial, check out our Patreon page. It's up and running. We got a couple tiers with a couple different rewards, a few tiers. We have a great community Discord that you can join where we'll hang out, play video games. You can request movies, things of that nature. So if you are enjoying this content, it is a low Patreon tiers. Like, they're not crazy expensive, but anything helps and helps us, keep improving our content and making better content and doing something we love. So if you're entertained by this and you enjoy watching it, please consider going and subscribing to our Patreon. The links, I guess it's just patreon.com. Do you guys have the URL /
We'll put it in the description of the video.
We'll put it in the description, yeah. And yeah, so go subscribe there. Meanwhile, the other people who are supporting this podcast, our sponsors, will give us a quick word, and we will be back with the spoilers to this. Should I even call it a movie, or should I call it someone's like fucking college project?
Let's call it what it is. It's trash.
We'll be back to talk about the trash. And we're back. Thank you, sponsors. Joey changed his color, I think. James is dancing, so we're ready. We're ready to talk about this dumpster fire that is a movie. All right, so what you guys actually think? Like, give me some big gripes. Joe, you said you have a lot written down. Why don't you start?
So first, where did you guys rank this in between Hypnotic and The Girl on the Train?
Right between.
The Bollywood version.
I was just going to say, I think Hypnotic's a little better.
Yes.
Girl on the Train is a little worse.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I think this is the bottom.
Really?
Of those
No.
three.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough, but
Joey, I agree with you, but only in sheer entertainment value. I feel like Girl on the Train was more entertaining than this movie. But like, as a movie, Girl on the Train made less sense than this movie.
Girl on the Train just threw everything at the wall and was just trying to find something that stuck.
Yes.
I'm more on the side of Girl on the Train and this movie are both super terrible, but this is like a little better to watch because it's so bad that it's good, where Girl on the Train is so bad that it's bad. I don't know if that makes sense, but Girl on the Train is almost unwatchable. This you can sit and laugh at because it is bad. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. And I'm actually confused by James because you kept saying that this one doesn't make sense to me. This was the most like straightforward, basic plot that like there was
Super
no
predictable.
real. There was one point where they almost tried to redeem. Like for a second, I was like, "Wow, this might be actually a good movie." When they like justified all of the husband's actions and that he wasn't the bad guy, I was like, "Oh, maybe there is really a story here," and that this husband. And then instantly, I was like, "No, he's just."
Joke's on you. He's just gaslighting.
He's just gaslighting.
Welcome to the theme of 2021. Gaslighting.
2021 and 2022. I swear to God,
It's
I
nonstop.
wasn't aware of gaslighting as a concept until like I was until 2019. Like when was like the last presidential election before 2020? 2016?
2016 would be
was
4
the
years.
first time. Yeah, right.
Aren't you an engineer?
Isn't it crazy how the time
do
and
math
numbers
for a
Did you
living?
work for the government?
So, it's shut up, Kevin. Shut up, Joey. I'm trying to make a point here. Isn't it funny? Like I feel like that's the first time I heard of gaslighting, and like since then, it's like in the last 2 or 3 years, it's like, hey, do you want to make a predictable villain? And then movie writers are like, keep going. And they're like,
You have my attention.
What if you have a husband that gaslights his wife? And they're like,
Sold.
damn, that's a genius idea. And it's like every fucking person. Because it's like, Hypnotic did this, Things Heard and Seen did this, like, this movie did this, And those are just the movies we watch on the podcast. And there may be others. Was there any gaslighting in Women in the Window? I feel like that,
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Gaslighting a woman in the window.
gaslit herself, kind of. From we're getting.
Imagine.
They're
Imagine.
lighting, dude, people out here lighting gas. We're just lighting gas all over the place. Everybody's gaslit. But it's just like it doesn't. The reason my problem, Joey, because you were saying that you're like this one made sense. Like it was super predictable, but there were so many times that the main Mira, her character, wouldn't make any fucking sense. Like there was one scene specifically, right? because they do the whole thing where they explain everything that's going on and it's going to be important to the plot. Like, hey, Mira, I am bad husband. We both have a phone tracking app. You know what I mean? So we both know where each other are at all times. And then she goes to like this other side of town that like is where like the Cobbs are from, which is nowhere near her home or where she works. And then her husband says, "Hey, you went to that like place that like, you know, is super suspect. Why did you do that?" And she goes, "I don't know."
I was leaving work on the other side of town.
And you're like, and then they just
Yeah.
breeze by it. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So they just really fed into his toxic masculinity again, that like he had to control everything she did and where she was and what he had to protect her at every aspect, and he has to know what she's doing, and he can't protect her if she knows she's sick and has these doctor's appointments. Like, it just was so over dramatic and over ridiculous that I was just like, how is this very successful psychologist like with a man like this?
Yeah.
So here's like my big thing is like right off the bat, right? And like very obviously the acting and the writing are terrible in this movie. Both just bad. But then you get into this point like, who the fuck uses Evites anymore? What the fuck is that about? Like, that's where like movies get like shit. This gets annoying. Like, who wrote in a plot point that involved an Evite being sent? Who the fuck sends Evites? Someone please tell me.
That guy's like a posh douchebag. Like,
can I also say that they evited like 15 people in a town where they've only lived for 2 months and knew nobody?
Who the
and like
fuck are these
random people? Like, there was no friends, there was no family. It was just the whole story was so obnoxious in the sense that, again, let's backtrack a little bit and tell people what happens. It's this couple that has been married for 12 years, lives in Boston, met at Boston University?
I think so.
I don't know.
I think so.
One of those schools. They met there, they got married, she decided not to go back to India, lives with him, married for 12 years. For the last 2 months, decides to move to this town. I think it's Texas or
New Mexico.
Middle
Arizona?
of fucking nowhere.
New Mexico. Okay. Southwest. Doesn't matter. And there's just like no reasoning as to why they moved here. No reason as to why they left Boston after 12 years and that's where they met and all this stuff. There's just no logic to any of it. And that's what bothered me.
Well, there is logic to
personal
why
level.
he left Boston. Because he had to... This was like... He built this house so that he could do his psychotic things, which is
why did
kidnap
to do that
people.
in
Yeah,
New
he
Mexico?
just-
Like, it's
Because
not like
it's
he
in
was
the middle
running
of
away.
nowhere. If you're gonna kidnap someone,
Yeah,
keep
but
them in your basement. You're gonna want to do it in the middle of nowhere.
There's middle of nowhere places in New York. There's middle of nowhere places in Maine. There's middle of nowhere
That's
places
true. That's
everywhere.
true.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to go that far. And it was just like so dramatically far away to me that I was just like, why are you guys moving here? Like, are you running away from something? Did you get like this great job opportunity? Like, he just was like, I built this house for us. I was like, okay, well, couldn't build this house anywhere else. Like, you clearly both have successful jobs and
Bro,
are making a lot of money. And then they play off that they're broke. And I was like, what? Like, you have a $2 million house
that
here.
house is
You can't
nuts.
be broke.
That
That was
house
a
is
cool house.
Then he also
crazy.
claimed to build it himself in under a year. He said, we broke ground a year ago and we moved in 2 months ago. You're telling me you built that massive house by yourself in 10 months?
No,
Yeah, but that was
By
fraud. He had a
yourself?
whole crew of
He
people.
designed it.
Of course it was fraud, but
Yeah.
like, that's what, like, no.
No shot. No,
No.
shot you build that.
No.
Unless you're living here for 2 years and like you know how to build a house. Like you're an architect from Boston, dude. Like what the fuck?
That's
are
like
you
a
talking-
6-year project if you're going to do that by yourself.
Yeah, there's no
Minimum.
shot.
I'm not an architect, but that's 6 years.
Can we talk about how the cop was just unreasonably an asshole right off the bat too? Like that's
Yeah.
also just shitty writing. Like the cop is automatically like why did someone break into your house? And it's like I don't know. That's so stupid. Like that's such bad writing. Like you can get the cop to that point if you give him reasonable suspicion as to why he would be questioning the husband like about like, why, like, do you have any enemies or anything like that? But right off the bat, the cop goes to this place of like, it's your fault that your house got broken into. Like, in what world does that make any sense?
That whole scene was so crazy because they were both assholes to each other right from the beginning,
Yeah.
and it made no sense.
Bro.
And the cop is like, "Well, why don't you have an alarm system?" I was like, "Well, first of all, okay, he moved in
Not
2 months
every
ago,
house
fair
has
enough
that.
to not have an alarm system. But a house like that,
Right.
after a year of building it, you have an alarm system. Fuck that guy. Fuck that cop. Fuck that husband.
Dude.
I'm done with.
I've
this
never
movie.
seen
Can we
James
talk
agree
about
with
it?
me so hard.
we
Like that he's
fucking-
like, his head's about to
Can
explode.
we fucking talk about how they go, like, the dude ices, like, there's 3 people that break into their fucking house, right? 3 people break into their house. He ices 2 of them, and 1 of them's in the ICU. And then they meet them in a Starbucks. They meet the cops meet the couple in a Starbucks, and they're like, hey, just as a heads up, here's all, like, you're under investigation, but here's all of the case details. Here's all of the family details. And then he looks at the wife and he's like, hey, by the way, there's definitely more going on to this case. You know, there's this daughter that went missing a couple months ago. And she goes, oh no, I feel so bad for her family. And then the cop goes, oh, you don't understand. They are her family. And then she goes, and then the scene cuts. And you're like, what the fuck is that conversation?
Yeah.
You have a motive why this guy would want to kill them. This motherfucker kills like 6 people. He kills like 6 people and no one finds him. He just like runs around town on a murder spree. These are the worst cops I've ever seen in my entire life. You know?
How does he waltz into a hospital and murder
And
a man in the
ice somebody.
hospital?
Keep in mind, they murdered 3 people in their house. They go to a
2
Starbucks to
people.
meet with this cop.
2 people.
2.5 people. He basically killed the 3rd person. But they go to Starbucks to meet with the cop, and then later that night, they were back in their own home. You're not telling me that CSI and all these investigative crime scene people are not in the house tearing it apart, blocking everything off. They're just like, yeah, go back home. It's okay. We don't need to do any fingerprinting. We don't need to do any blood spatter analysis. Like, there was 3 people dead in your house that you killed, and there's not a single investigation that goes on inside of your house. Like, what is wrong with this movie?
And then the next day, so all this shit happens, and then the next day she goes to a fucking doctor's appointment, and the doctor's like, I heard you got broken into. It's like, what the fuck are you? How do you know that? She's like, small town, word travels
Small
fast.
town.
Like, bullshit. Eat my
Such
dick.
a
fuck are you
cheap
talking about?
excuse.
Did you
Yeah,
hear from
yeah.
the cops because they're too busy gossiping and not investigating my murderous
Yeah.
husband?
Yeah, Jesus
Literally,
Christ.
like, they could have had anybody else say that line to her, like her coworker, somebody who's in her psychiatrist's
Yes.
office, like a cop come up to her, something, and they have this random doctor who she's going to get checked for cancer, and she's just like, I know this is your job, but if you want to talk to somebody, she's like, no, my husband's great at talking to me. He does a great job talking to me and telling me his feelings. Like, what is? It was so bad.
Fuck you.
It was so bad.
Dude, I swear to God, I don't understand why this like they do this amazing job of painting the picture of like, oh, this is a podunk town in the middle of fucking nowhere that has an amazing cancer facility, an entire like
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like her work where she's like you know what I mean? They need an architect for $1 million projects. Like, what the fuck are you doing in New Mexico?
Right. Why would you go? Especially if you have cancer. Like, some of the best cancer treatment centers are in the Northeast, and you just leave the Northeast. Like,
They're in
it's-
Boston. Boston is a hub of pharmaceutical shit.
Yeah.
God.
So funny.
I hate
But-
everything.
Oh.
And then the whole her like investigating this stuff. It's like all shit that she shouldn't. No,
She's
like,
the
how'd she just
worst
know where to go?
detective I've
It's-
ever seen.
She's like, she's got the camcorder in. She goes and. Okay, let me paint this scene. First off, she checks this dude's truck. Okay, finds just a key. It's just a key. You have no idea.
She
It doesn't
breaks
have a label
into their
on it.
house.
Hold on.
She
Stop.
breaks-
She breaks into the house. All that. That's one thing. Then she just kept this key that she found in the truck. She has no idea what this key could be for nothing. And she just puts it in her pocket. And then she's leaving after she breaks into a house. She's leaving and she sees the mailboxes and she goes, this must be the mailbox key. Glad I kept it. And then goes up, pulls this fucking package out of there with the camcorder, and then a dude comes up and he's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "It's not my package." And he's like,
"What the fuck are you talking about?"
She's like, "It's not mine. It's not mine." He's like, "Stop!" It's so weird.
Mind blowing. Because not only that, she just breaks into the door.
She breaks in.
She
breaks into the fucking house.
She doesn't try to use the key.
Right. Wouldn't you?
She doesn't try to use the key to get into the house. She just pushes the door. And
do you know what happened?
Oh, okay.
The last time people broke into a house, your husband murdered 3 people.
And then, hey, here's another fucking stupid plot point, is the camera gets, like, smashed or hit.
Yeah.
And then she tries to watch the thing on it. It doesn't work. It's a digital camera. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't work on the camera. So rather than, like, plugging it into something that has a functioning screen, she
like
buys
computer.
a whole new digital camera. And it works on that camera. Like, none of that made any sense. None, like, literally, none of that made sense.
She went on a computer. She went on a computer and bought a camera on eBay instead of plugging the fucking flash drive into her fucking computer.
They spent a full minute, if not more, on her on eBay deciding which camera to buy, too.
God.
Not just like, let me Google this, there it is, buy, done. Like, you don't need to show that scene. People understand, like, if you get a package, it's a camera, like, you just bought it. They spent the time to show that she did investigation on which camera to buy so that she could watch this video that theoretically shouldn't work on the camera, or she could have played it elsewhere.
I also love that they spent the time to close the loop on the camera. Like, after everything was settled, there was the awkward, "Hey, there's going to be a camera coming in a few days. Do you want to give it to your son?" And then she goes, "No, but I will, I guess."
No. That's not what happens. Ready? This is even funnier. This is even fucking funnier than what you're saying, okay? Because they criticized their own stupid writing in the movie, okay? She goes, "Hey, I don't need this camera anymore," because she doesn't care to know, like, what was on the video. She's like, "Hey, person who works with me, would you like this camera? Maybe you can give it to your son." And the woman goes, "He's probably going to use his phone."
She goes, "No, it's 2021.
Yeah.
Why would I not use my cell phone?
That's so good.
Why would I spend $130 on a camcorder?"
Idiot. This movie was so gosh dang.
Whew.
I don't want to hate on everybody in this movie. I don't, because I do appreciate the grind like Kevin, and I don't want to see the world burn. But damn, this movie fucking sucks.
Can we talk about also, like, again, bad writing? Any thriller movie like this, they know, like, oh, when you hear, like, the pipes rattling for no reason, like, you know it's somebody trying to get out, first. Second, he's with the cop, they're interviewing him, and he's like, "You don't have an alarm system?" He goes, "No." Pipes start rattling, he goes, "Sounds like you need to get your..." Or he goes, "When did you move in here?" 2 months ago, brand new house. Sounds like you need to get your pipes checked, too. Like, you're telling me a 2-month-old home already has broken pipes?
Right.
This motherfucker built this home from scratch. He should know what the fuck is wrong with his house.
And
yeah.
It just, I don't know. It's all just lazy writing. Like, right off, like, literally in the beginning of the movie when they said there's a girl missing. Like, they literally just told you the rest of the movie. That he's got the girl, like,
he's in the house,
tied up somewhere.
Yeah.
And these guys were trying to find her. Now, here's another massive gaping plot hole. Okay? The 3 guys who were looking for their sister in the house.
Daughter and sisters, but yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
They fucking helped build the house. They know the layout of the house. They should know there's a fucking hidden basement. So why do they have to like just like look around the house and scrummage around the house for the sister and daughter when they fucking know there's like a hidden basement? They literally built a dungeon. And then they're like, "Where could our sister be?" I don't know, maybe the fucking dungeon you built. Like, you built that. God, it's so stupid. It
So
makes
dumb.
no sense.
So fucking...
Also, did you guys notice? So now we're in the fight scene. Now the wife found the missing girl in the basement, and they're trying to escape the husband.
Oh, whoa. Yeah, keep going. I got something for this
And they're running out of the basement, the dungeon, and she slams the door on him, and it just hits his hand, and he pulls his hand in. She still doesn't shut the door. She could have just shut the door there. Movie's over. But then he comes out of there, and he's limping, but nothing happened to his legs. And on top of that, there was a baseball bat in the basement. She could have just grabbed the bat, wait for him to come downstairs, and smack him
Beat
up
the
beside
fucking
the
shit
goddamn
out of him.
head.
Yeah.
There are
That's
so
where
many
I thought you were
moments
going
where they
with
could have
that.
gotten out of that, and they just waited to build this like big extravagant chase through the house, and then he locks the door remotely, which any electronic lock like that will still have a
Just
deadbolt
undoes.
lock on there. Like you can still unlock it manually. It's not just gonna be like it's just so
Locked
asinine.
forever.
All
We're
of it is
locked.
asinine.
So, wait. I want to give them one credit to what you just said. I think there is a way to open the door from the inside of the dungeon because there was like a button there, and it's not like she couldn't get out. She was trapped down there, like locked. So that. But let's fast forward to the very end of the scene where she finally kills him. She's in the kitchen, basically conscious the whole time. Like he just grabs the one girl and locks her up and just leaves her by herself. He leaves her in the kitchen. She sees this stupid toy clock that he bought her on their first date. Like a toy Big Ben clock or something from Boston. I don't know.
College, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, a stupid little clock. And she looks at it and she goes, yes, that's my key. That's what I'm going to use to kill him. I'm in my own kitchen where I've had 6 scenes of me chopping vegetables with very sharp knives.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to use the bat that's out there. I'm not
or
gonna
the
use a knife.
fucking
I'm gonna,
Or the tree
potted
gun.
gun. Yeah.
I'm going to use this stupid little toy clock and kill my husband. That's what she decided to
Yeah.
do, and that's what worked for her.
Oh my god.
Not slamming his fist into the door, not using the bat against him when he came down, not a knife in the kitchen, not the gun in the tree, the fucking toy clock.
How heavy's the fucking clock? Because the whole time everybody's like, no, clock, no. But then she goes, thunk, and then it
You could
becomes
probably
like
do some
50
good
pounds.
blunt force trauma with that fucking
Yeah, but like how?
clock. Like
I
you
don't
could
know.
probably do
It's
some
probably
fucking
plastic.
damage.
It's probably plastic.
That's what
it
I'm
would
saying.
probably crush itself before it crushes a skull to a man to death.
I
It
feel
could have
like
been
it's
metal though. I have
feel
that
like the
little...
It
plot.
could have been.
No, but they
It
were,
could
like,
have been.
playing
It's
with it.
doesn't matter. There's other options. She shouldn't have grabbed the knife. That was such a stupid little thing that they
Yeah, I
tried to
agree,
like
Joey.
plant throughout the movie to be like, oh, this is the key, this is the saving grace, and it was so stupid,
It was.
so
Fucking
stupid.
You got me this actually. It actually sits on my shelf. But like when you guys went to Italy like years ago, like
This
a
is
long
when
ass
we
time
were
ago,
wee lads.
you got me this thing,
Yes.
and I can hold it, and it looks like it's nothing. But this is like metal, and this could probably fuck someone up. So I don't have a big problem with
You
it.
know what would
Listen,
fuck somebody up, Kevin? A knife in their back.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's
That's true. That's
Like,
facts. That's
there's
facts.
no reason for her to not get a knife and use a blunt force object against her husband, who is undoubtedly stronger than her because he's a lot bigger than her in this
It was
movie.
symbolism, Joe. You didn't
Symbolism.
understand.
It was
It began with
stupid.
the clock. It ended with the clock.
And then
fucking-
imagine like, go ahead, James. I'm
All
sorry.
right. No, you're good. So, can we talk about how his motivation as like a killer is he's like, I helped you through cancer. I helped you when you were depressed. So I get to be a serial killer. And you have to help me. And
I think they came from a place of like they really thought hard about that, and I think it wasn't
Dumb.
the worst thing in the world that they
It
were
was.
saying, like,
It
look,
was.
like this guy is
It was
a
bad.
serial killer, like he's literally a sociopath. So in his mind, he's like, I need help, and like I'm, but like you're a serial killer, dude. Like
Dude,
there's
yeah,
no
you
excuse.
can't sympathize serial killing with cancer.
Where,
Like,
where?
I
I'm
get
a
what they were
serial
trying to do.
killer.
Like, oh, it's they were trying to emphasize, I think, mental illness compared to physical illness. Like, you don't like there is a stigma of when somebody's physically ill, you can ask how you're doing, but when they're mentally ill, it's like you beat around the subject.
Yes.
This wasn't that. He was a sociopathic serial killer. Like,
He was going to murder
He's not- mildly depressed. He's not like bipolar. He is a straight up serial killer.
This movie was absolute garbage. I did want to say, imagine being the people, because she sells her house at the end after all this.
Yes.
Imagine people being the people who buy that house, and you have like you bought a house with a
Bloodstains.
fucking murder dungeon. Like what the fuck?
It's a sex dungeon.
Yeah, they didn't get rid of
What
that.
would you do? Would you fill that in? Would you try and like like finish it with like carpet and make
don't know.
like
Make it a
nice
workshop or
basement.
something. I don't know. Hey, there's this other
Or
room in
would
the
you
basement. There's
Just
this
start
like
kidnapping people.
there's this strange adjunct basement that locks from the outside. And you're like, what was that used for? And they're like, we don't like to ask.
So
Oh.
stupid.
But yeah, I don't know if there's much more. I don't think this movie deserves much more discussion. This
Stop.
movie sucks.
No.
All right.
All right, double down. I think I know where we're at, Joe.
But game.
Trash. Keep
Game.
scrolling.
Oh, yeah, we can do the game first.
Joey,
Do the
save
Rotten
it.
Tomatoes again.
Yeah, Joey,
Uh,
save your thing. What if we change your mind with the game?
yeah, we might change your mind. All right, we'll do Rotten Tomatoes again, like we did last episode.
One.
I want tomato meter and I want audience score.
This is a new season 3 game. Updated. We now do tomatometer and
We're
audience
classy
score.
now.
We're classy now. Season 3, new and improved. You like it, everyone on YouTube.
James, are you gonna guess or are you
Just
gonna just
fucking
keep
guess,
talking?
No, I
Jesus
just want to talk at the
Christ.
camera. All
They
right, fine.
saw this already.
Fine.
Okay.
I'm going to say tomatometer 32, people score 56.
Okay.
I'm going tomato meter 17. I think it's a teen almost wanted to go single digit, but I'll say 17. Audience score 22.
You're 17 and 22.
It's pretty low, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
It was a
really low.
23 on the tomato meter and a 69 on the audience score.
Nice.
Not like the worst.
What?
Nice.
That's a good audience score.
Yeah, not
it's
a
'cause
bad
the audience is
score, even
dumb.
though this movie sucks. Yeah.
The audience
Do you guys
is dumb.
want to know what the Metacritic was?
50. No.
31.
43.
39.
Ooh, I'm
Oh, I
closer.
was gonna say 38.
Yeah, this movie sucked. I agree with all the scores except the audience score.
All right.
Double
Double down.
So mad. So
double
mad about
down.
all this.
Joe, you're still doubling
Keep
down after
scrolling.
that?
Trash,
Yeah.
trash.
James?
You know what? After our conversation, I honestly feel like we need to give this movie a fair shake and fuck this fucking movie, dude. This movie sucks. Keep scrolling.
Yeah, don't watch this movie unless you're one of those who likes to watch like shitty movies just to get a laugh out of them, because you will get a laugh out of how bad this is. But terrible movie, absolutely atrocious.
I have
Just
one
as
more
you would
gripe that
expect.
we didn't even talk about.
What?
Why on earth
Did we watch
would
this
somebody No. Well, that we've established was a bad decision. Why on earth would somebody break into a house twice, record themselves on some stupid camera from the early 2000s, and put it in a package in their own mailbox that doesn't probably
know.
ship out? Like, where was that going?
I don't know, dude.
Where was
I
that camera going?
don't know.
Why would you record yourself admitting to a crime that you committed
Also,
in hopes that something would come of it, but you don't know for sure? You literally put yourself on video admitting to a crime that at the time was not
Yeah,
justified.
Stupid.
it is 2021. Email a video, you fucking clod. Don't mail someone a camera.
He's mailing it to the cops. He's mailing
Right.
it as if like the cops already know he's a bad
Just
guy.
go to the
whatever.
fucking
Like,
police
maybe they're not
station.
going to
Call
listen
them.
to him.
Ring
But
him
just
up.
go,
Ring 'em up.
call him up. Everyone knows their number.
Everyone's got their number.
911.
Yeah.
And they're not doing anything. You know?
Yeah.
They're
Oh my
free.
God.
Oh,
Movie
so
fucking
rad.
terrible.
sucks, dude. All right.
Yeah.
It's been a good time. Everyone that's listening, subscribe. It helps us grow our base on YouTube. We want to see more people engaged with our videos. In addition, Kevin mentioned it earlier, but we have a fully functioning Patreon. We'll have a link to it in the description of the video. Our lowest patron tier is $1 per month, $12 per year. It really isn't that much, and you'll get a shout out on our website. In addition to other, if you decide to
We're gonna
go
shout out on the show.
on the show. And then different tiers, obviously, you can hang out in our Discord. You get exclusive content. You get to, a lot of good stuff on there. You get a shout out on the website, like I said before. But we appreciate you. Please leave us a comment, leave us a like, leave us a review if you're listening to us on a Apple podcast. And thank you for watching. Don't watch the shit movie. boys.
Goodbye.
See ya. No more chow chow. I'm done with that.
New season, new me.
New man.
Just kidding. Ciao ciao.